the real reason why you keep switching therapists, coaches, and healers. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Jess X Goh, and I'm the sole founder of Life in Confidence. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on the latest insight into trauma recovery. If you have got any nuggets of gold from this video, please give it a like, comment below, and share with your loved ones who need to hear this right now. I hear from so many people that they are so frustrated that they're not getting breakthrough shifts and results, let alone guidance and support in how to get to the other side of trauma. And here's why. If you find yourself constantly changing psychologists, counselors, healers, therapists, coaches, it's because of this. They have not presented you your roadmap to success. And it's up to you if you are willing to be coachable and guided to get through that roadmap. I find my most successful clients who have worked with me are the ones who are highly coachable. They are willing to do the inner work. They listen and follow to my guidance to the T. And that's how they get results. Some people will wander through their ego and looking for their quick fixes to not dive deep into the pain, to not really take their self-care seriously. And this is why people aren't getting results. They're not ready to be helped. They just want to do it at their level of comfort and safety. But that's not where the transformation lies. It lies outside of your comfort zone. It lies for you to trust into the unknown. And this is where the breakthroughs come online. I remember speaking to a client of mine who is feeling really blocked with her traumas. And she tried seeing a kinesiologist, an energy healer, a psychic, and a psychologist or psychotherapist, should I say. And she says the healing journey has been very slow. And I asked her, do you want to know the reason why? And she said, yes. The reason why it's been slow for you, it's because none of these modalities and practitioners are addressing your childhood traumas. They're not getting into the nitty-gritty core of it. This is why you're not getting results. And she started to see that this makes sense. I said, what you need right now is you need to regulate your nervous system to create safety, for then to access your inner child and do some healing work around her. For you to then do emotional release work, shadow work, and to start clearing up the blockages that you have been carrying in your physical body and your nervous system that is showing up as chronic illness for you right now. And so I am not a medical physician, doctor, psychologist, or psychiatrist. I am simply just sharing from my personal and professional experiences from the viewpoint that is spiritual and holistic. So when she started to do my inner child healing course, Transform Wounds into Wisdom, she started to notice a shift. She can feel something is being released in her nervous system. She can feel there's this deep sense of openness within her. She can feel something is foreign that she's tapping into. That is quite profound and healing for her. And that is reconnecting who she is at her core, entering into the unknown. And that was just simply an online course, not even working with me online, one-to-one or face-to-face. She started listening to my childhood trauma clearing audios, and she can feel something was being purged and released. And she never cried in her life until she listened to the audio. She broke down into tears. She was coming back home into herself, into her heart and soul. that she struggled for most of her life to access. And that is the beauty when we can start to feel safe with our emotions, start to feel safe in our body, in our presence, and in our nervous system, to then dive deeper and investigate and look into the core woundings, the patternings, the programmings, the coping mechanisms, and the defenses that we put to keep ourselves away from trauma. That there's this fear, if we're going to revisit trauma, we're going to re-traumatize ourselves. No, it has to be done with a facilitator who knows what they're doing in order for you to feel safe with trauma. It's highly possible. I've seen it with so many of my clients. And when we start to feel safe with feeling our emotions and reconnecting to the pain, the heaviness and the darkness, as well as the lightness and the joy, we start to feel that this is our new level of comfort zone. And that's exciting, that this is exactly how you want to feel. You want to feel this deep sense of openness, spaciousness, for deep love to come through inside of you, inside of your heart and soul. And yes, you will cry. And yes, there's this deep sense of gratitude for life, that transformation is possible for you, that there is finally light at the end of the tunnel. And so, if that's possible for me and for this client and for many other clients that I have worked with all sorts of different traumas, no matter how big or small, it's still trauma. You cannot compare your experience or someone else's experiences to yours or to theirs, because everyone is on a different journey with their pain and suffering. It's still pain and suffering. And that pain and suffering, we have no idea the level of intensity and impact it has on that person's personality and their identity and their soul. And so, do not diminish trauma, that it is something that has to be so dramatic, such as domestic violence, sexual abuse, or going into war. Trauma is also subtle as not having the awareness that there was a lack of presence when your parents are working and you had no one to play with, no one to connect with when you were a little boy or a little girl. That's still trauma, and that trauma is abandonment. So all of these absences of what we didn't have impacts the way we operate, the way we survive, the way we communicate, the way we think, the way we feel. That is a programming to keep us feel locked into safety, which is a false sense of safety, by the way, because it doesn't allow you to be who you really are, the light that's in your heart. And so when people say to me that nothing has worked, I want to look into what has been your roadmap to success that has been presented to you. Because trying different healers and exploring different modalities and programs and workshops and psychologists and so forth isn't it. It's finding the right person who can show you the roadmap how you can successfully get to the other side of trauma. Now, some people operate from a budget perspective, and I totally get that. But you also have to be realistic as well. Just because you attended an online course or a workshop doesn't mean that you have successfully cleared so many deep-rooted layers of your traumas. It's the beginning point, but it's about having the awareness, the tools, the consistency to keep showing up for yourself and your woundings, because it's not easy. And to do our best not to regress back into our old ways of being, our coping mechanisms such as escapism, running away, disassociation, self-abandonment, self-betrayal, people-pleasing, and the like, right? That is not the way out. That is you spinning your wheels and keeping yourself stuck. I know it because I've been there too, right? And I've seen it with some of my clients who regress back because they're too scared to face what's going on the inside. And so if we keep consistently showing up for all of our traumas, all of our woundings with safety through a regulated nervous system, with the right practitioner who can show you the roadmap to success and how to get to the other side, and trust the guidance that has been given to you. If you feel this is the right person for you, even your traumas are saying, no, I don't want to go there, because transformation is there when you are ready to meet it. And that is outside of your comfort zone, by facing your deepest fears, your darkest secrets that you have experienced around trauma. So, my love, what is your roadmap to success in your trauma recovery journey? I can share just a generic outline right now that for someone who's starting out, first of all, you need to regulate your nervous system through somatic techniques, energetic release, and some form of emotional release. Now, this could be walking your body to the beach or to the park or to the river and just stay in the frequency of nature to soften your armoring through your body, to soften your mind, the fixated, rigid way of thinking and operating, to soften your heart so it feels safe to feel. Doing Tai Chi, yoga, chakra clearing, doing Reiki on yourself. All these sorts of things can really help you to regulate your nervous system. And I'm sure there's so many more other techniques that I haven't been exposed to that can regulate your nervous system. Perhaps body tapping, and also body work on yourself through block therapy. The second thing is that you need to attend to different versions of yourself that is stuck in an old wounding, which is in an old memory that needs to come into illumination, and that is through inner child healing. It's not about finding joy with your inner child. It's way beyond that. It's finding forgiveness with different versions of yourselves that needs to come online to be seen and witnessed and felt from your heart. And this is where the breakthrough comes through, when you start to reconnect with yourself. It's through softness, kindness, and compassion. And letting go of the defense that it wasn't my parents' fault, they did the best they could. You're seeing it from the adult version of you. You're not seeing it from the wounded inner child that needs healing. And that's how we block ourselves from receiving healing, is by looking at it from the lens of the adult versions of ourselves rather than the wounded inner child. Once we tap into that, that's where the healing and transformation starts to occur. And the third thing is emotional release, trauma release, shadow work, to purge out the grief, the anger, the hatred, the guilt, the shame, the fear, the resentment, anxiety, depression, all of that. So we're not constantly recycling this in our minds, in our nervous system, in our physical bodies, and feeling stuck in those old emotions. And the fourth thing is integration. How can we settle ourselves after we purged? You know, I like to see trauma release as plant medicine when it's done properly with the right facilitator. With the right facilitator, you can get to the core and the root cause of it. And it feels scary at first, you're entering in the unknown, but with the right support and guidance, you can get the poison out. And that's how plant medicine works as well, when it's done properly with the right facilitator in the right container, You start purging physically by vomiting and through diarrhea when you take plant medicine, or should I say certain plant medicines and psychedelics, to release. And so when people come and see me, they will feel it in their body. They will notice that they're getting the runs. They notice they feel exhausted and fatigued or wired. They notice that they're not thinking clearly. And so this is where they need to integrate. Integration is just as important as clearing the trauma itself, because when you integrate properly, that's when things will settle in for you. You will be upgraded into your most authentic version of yourself that you can tap into. You will notice things will start to fall into place. You will start to feel things become more aligned. You will start to notice when things don't go your way and you're being tested, you don't get as triggered or as reactive than when you were in the past. So this is the power of integration, is through self-care, nervous system regulation, grounding, hydrating, eating plant-based foods as much as you can for the energy to settle in. This is my generic roadmap to success when it comes to trauma recovery. Now, every single person is different. Everyone is different when it comes to their healing journey. I can be more specific. Hey, you need to work on your abandonment wounding here because it's really playing up in your love life. Or hey, you need to focus on clearing your trust issues and let go of being a control freak because you were betrayed at the age of 7. You know, and this is impacting the way you operate in your life through distrust and being guarded. So everyone is different, but this is just my generic roadmap to success, how to get to the other side of trauma. And it's different for everyone, of course. And so the thing is, we can't do this by ourselves. Even myself, I still need guidance at times. I still need a high-level practitioner to help me navigate through my life at times. However, I don't rely on them as much as I did in the past because I was in the thick of my traumas. And now that I have lightened the karmic load on a soul level, I'm able to see the bigger picture and what's really going on. And also to see the bigger picture when it comes to my clients as well. I can take them to the next level. And this is the beauty of trauma recovery, when we say yes to ourselves and say yes to the right guidance and the right support and the right practitioner and container to facilitate that transformation in our behaviors, patternings, programmings, and coping mechanisms. So are you ready to say yes to you? If so, I invite you to come and join me for my inner child healing course, Transform Wounds into Wisdom. You can learn more about this in the link below, and you can enroll straight away and get access to all of the amazing healing techniques that I share step by step, and I explain them properly why we're doing this, and also ways to regulate your nervous system, techniques that I share from my Transforming Trauma and Conscious Relationship workshops. And you can ask me as many questions as you wish, or to share your progress inside of this sacred container. You can also join me for my Winter Solstice Ancestral Trauma Clearing Circle via Zoom, online, or to get access to the replay for 1 month and to start clearing inherited beliefs, programmings, emotions, traumas, behaviors, and coping mechanisms that we've taken on from our parents and their lineage. And it's up to us to break that pattern. So you can also click on the link and learn more, or to book your spot there as well. You can also join me for my Conscious Relationship retreat and workshops for singles and couples, Transforming Trauma and Magnetic Woman, in order for you to leave behind the old programming that isn't yours and to heal it from a place of compassion and love, so you can rise in your radiance of who you really are, the light that's in your heart. You can click on the links below to learn more and to book a free clarity call to see if this is right for you. Lastly, if you prefer to work with me one-to-one, you can through Find Yourself in Trust for my 3-month online program. where you experience a breakthrough in all areas of your life. This is a high-level container for a high-level soul who is ready to experience a life beyond trauma. And you can also choose to work with me face-to-face for a half-day or full-day trauma recovery retreat that is tailored to your goals, your needs, your outcomes, and your desires. So if you'd like to learn more about this, please watch my free webinar, Overcome the Impacts of Childhood Traumas in Just 3 Months. And you have the invitation to then book a free clarity call if this is in resonance to you. So my love, I would love for you to share. What will you do to start moving forward to get to the other side of trauma and live your most authentic life?